Hi, Alice Wheaton again. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about negotiation. Now, negotiation is really difficult for most people, and the reason is that it really exemplifies that fear of rejection. Because of course, what happens if you don't negotiate right is the deal was shut down. Well, chances are not, but nevertheless, it's worth having a process. So, there are 7 steps to great negotiation. And on the next page, I'm going to show you the 4 kinds of negotiators there typically are. So the first one is that to practice high status versus low status. Now, what that means is that when you show up in a negotiation with that really strong desire to please, then the person that you're negotiating with knows that you're insecure and that you could be easily intimidated because of your need to please. Then what happens that you will accept the first offer. And so here's what I like to do is my very first negotiation in business was with someone named Jeff Orchard. He's now an executive with an accounting firm. And he said, come on in and let's negotiate. And I said to him, Jeff, and it was totally instinct. I said, Jeff, of course, I love to negotiate. Here's a book that I would recommend you reading in preparation for our negotiation. So what happened is that in itself intimidated him, and I created a high status. And so he immediately became lower. And as a result of that, he still now laughs and tells me how that was the smoothest sail that he's ever experienced. And so the point is that don't show up assuming that you're going to lose or assuming that the other person is better at it than you. Assume that you're at least equal. The next one is to use the language of leadership. Language of leadership means that you say things like, I will, you can count on me. Instead of saying I should or maybe or I intend, to use language that you can actually hold someone accountable for, such as I'll get this done next week. If someone says no, I need it done by Tuesday, then that's a moment of negotiation. You could say, you know what, I will be able to get it for you on Tuesday, but there's 2 other assignments that will have to take back seat. Which do you prefer? So you're including their possibility, but you're making a counteroffer. So counteroffers are good. And so be prepared to know the other person's weakness. And the other person's weakness might be like step 2, that they're not able to make a counteroffer. Or when someone shows force, they may become intimidated. Or they may have a strong desire to be a people pleaser. If you can, get a sense of what they're like. And just as it's important to know your client's weaknesses, it's really important to know your own. One of my weaknesses, for instance, is that I always want my customer to do the work that I do because I know it's going to help them drive more business. Just today, I was talking to a prospect, and the prospect says, we can't go ahead until October. And so then I made a decision. Do I want to provide them with a lot of information that they'll need between now and then, free, or do I want to wait? And I took a chance in saying, you know what? Because you're going through the process of buying your business, there's going to be a lot of creative chaos. And so what I'd like to do is send you 8 or 10 videos so that you can distribute it to your sales team so that they have a place to start. And so I decided that was, at that moment, for me, a strength, but my prospect could see that as a weakness. So I have a tendency to want to give away my material because I want the world really to be selling the way I like to train people to sell. So create a positioning statement. Remember, I started out earlier by telling Jeff that, listen, Jeff, I look forward to negotiating with you on this, and I love negotiating. You know, I've read this book, and I told him the name of the book, and I suggest that if you like to, it would be a good tool for you as well. So positioning statement sets up the scene for what's going to come forward. A positioning statement might be to say to a client, you know, I don't expect us to come to an agreement today, but you know, in two or three conversations from now, I do. Or you might say, you know, like I said to a farmer a while ago when I was working with Marco's team, the farmer says, yeah, everyone says that they can increase our productivity. And I said, you know, you're right, but here's a difference with Western Egg, is we suggest that you not give us your entire farm for soil testing right now. We suggest that you assign six sections, one that is great, with say canola, and one that's a mystery field, one mystery field of oats and one great field, and one mystery field of peas and a good field. And so we only suggest you give us 6 sections in the beginning. So that's positioning you as different and positioning you as making it safe for the client to hire you. And 6 is you have to ask for what you want. If you do all those steps and you don't ask for what you want, then you're letting yourself down, you're letting your client down, and you're letting Western Egg down. And number 7, know your bottom line. I would talk to some packs and some LPs, they say, look, if a farmer is only going to give us 2 sections, fine, I'll go with that. I'll even do 5 acres. And so know what your bottom line is in your negotiation. And you know what? Maybe just getting a few acres is better than none. At least the farmer will that will be a prospect for next year. So I'm going to show you now, like I mentioned before, the 4 typical negotiation scenarios. The first, of course, is Dora the doormat. And these people tend to be passive aggressive. I would go ahead, but my husband wants to wait. Might be a comment that Dora would say, instead of saying, I don't want to. Cheap Charlie says, well, come on now, just a few extra pennies won't count. And I'll tell my friends all about Western Egg. They might say, no, if you give it to me for $3.25 a field, then I'll tell everyone I know about Western Egg. So if you're going to do that, then you would say, absolutely, I'm willing to give you these many acres at this much money, and here's what I'd want in return. I'd want a name of those farmers that you talk to, and I would talk to them personally, because I don't want to add that, contacting all your farmer friends, to your to-do list. I'll put it on mine. So that's you asking for what you want, though. Then, of course, there's the aggressive. I'll never do business with you again. Those are the types that the dominant Dan might say. I'm sorry, Dan. I'm not talking about you. And then, of course, there's a considerate Corinne. Let's determine the results. Let's review the results and determine what percentage of a farm we will sample. And this is really the kind of people that's a pleasure to deal with. The people that are considerate, they're reasonable, and they want to work with you. So thanks for being with me today. And this was just a brief overview of the excitement that negotiation can bring to your business. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.